Bardia. Nice. How you doing? My name is Athman.
Good to meet you, bro.
How you doing, bro? So what questions? Ask away.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's legit, you know?
Yeah. Let me tell you about Islam, and then you can ask me what you think. All right? So very quickly, we believe there's only one creator.
Sure.
Right? There's nobody else that should be worshipped except that one creator that created us, that gave us purpose. And the purpose of our life is to recognize that creator and worship him.
Sure.
Right? And to live as good human beings by the laws that creator sent. We believe that creator sent us prophets, like the prophet Moses, Abraham, Jesus, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them. We believe all of them were good. We believe all of them brought the same message, to worship none but one creator. Don't worship idols, don't worship monkeys or people or saints. Just worship that one that created one God. There you go. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's...
Makes sense?
Yeah, the creator, there's only usually one creator. Someone
has to be, right?
Creates a car, that's the creator that made
There
the
you
car.
go. Makes sense. And that creator would know best how that car should function, right?
Exactly.
So that our creator wouldn't leave us without instructions, right? Like when you get a car, you get a user manual, right?
Yeah.
So why do we have a user manual? Because that designer, that manufacturer knows that you need to know how to function the car.
Of course.
Right? So our creator being more intelligent than that, obviously wouldn't leave us without guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
I would assume so.
You good, man. All right, good. So now, when you get to who that creator is, when we look at the message of all the prophets, like Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them, they all said to worship one God, right? Look at the 10 commandments, right? Hear, O Israel, your Lord is one. And then second, don't worship idols, right?
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, that's the second commandment.
So.
Yeah, you can look it up, no problem, right? So in the message of Moses, of Abraham, of Jesus, of Muhammad, peace be upon them, it's all one message, to worship one creator, don't worship idols, don't worship people, right? Doesn't that make sense though?
Yeah.
Like if one creator created us and I go and worship that tree that had nothing to do with creating me, isn't that wrong?
So like Jesus was on the planet, though, right?
Yeah, we believe Jesus was a prophet. We believe he had a miraculous birth. We love Jesus. We love Mary. We respect them, but we don't worship them.
Right. Was there? So like, what's the God then? If like, did like a God from Islam come down to earth? And
No. We don't believe God came to earth in the form of Jesus. We believe Jesus was a prophet of God. Right? Like even if you look in the Bible, even with all the corruptions and changes, you'll still see verses where Jesus is called a prophet, right? Where the people are discussing who is this man, they said, is he the prophet, right?
Did he die and come back though?
We don't believe he died. We believe he was taken up by Allah and he will come back, right? But we don't believe he was crucified. This is more fiction.
No.
It's crucifixion, not a crucifixion. So here, what happened is people started worshiping the prophet. Right? So he brought a message. He prayed. Jesus prayed with his head to the ground. He prayed to the Creator, right? He said, "Oh Father," right? He was praying to Allah, exactly, right? But people, they over-exaggerated about him, and they started to worship him, not what he told them to do. He told them to worship the one Creator, right?
I mean, if what you're saying is correct about him not dying and coming back,
right?
Then you have a point. But if he did die,
right,
he did come back,
right?
That's the point where I'm like, didn't he something with God? I mean,
but the thing is, first thing, if you look at historically, all the accounts of his death, there's no first-hand reports, right? These are all reports that are, I'm just letting you know, right? I got you.
I can't trust any information.
I feel you, right? In Islam, the information I present, I can tell you who is the first-hand reporter, who is the one that saw the event, and who did he tell it to, and who did he tell it to, when was it written? We don't have that with the Bible, right? That's why you have a lot of contradictions in the Bible.
Right.
You want me to show you some, or are you good?
No.
All right, you good?
I believe.
So when you have an event, when they're like Simon carried the cross, there's another verse, they're like, no, Jesus carried the cross. And one of them is talking about the Passover and the next day and the day before. When they talk about these things that contradict, that means we don't have actual factual information, right? No. Even if you look at the Gospel of Barnabas, which is not in the current Bible today, that even has a different opinion that Judas is the one that was put on the cross, right? And I'm not saying that's correct, but what I'm saying is we don't have sure knowledge here. But we have the Quran that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Now imagine a man who doesn't read or write a language, right? Like for example, if I'm illiterate, I can't read or write. Can I bring a book that is so eloquently written that the best poet and professors of the language couldn't match it?
Yeah, ChatGPT.
right? Yeah, if you have AI, but if you don't have computers. Before AI, 14 and a half centuries.
That good.
Right. But what I'm
It's
saying
like
is,
playing a chess match with the computer. You can be almost as good, but not
exactly.
As good.
So if you can, without any AI, without a computer, without being able to read or write, if you can bring a book like that, then definitely that's miraculous, right?
I wouldn't say miraculous. I'd say it's a good writer.
Okay, but he can't read or write. So how can he be a good writer if he can't read or write?
I guess that doesn't make sense. If
Exactly.
He can't write, but he wrote an eloquent book.
Exactly. So what does that mean? That he cannot read and write, but a book was revealed to him by the Creator, right? Let me ask you.
Book,
Allah revealed the book, and the people around him, when he recited it, they wrote it down.
So you
right?
just gave me the answer.
No, but they're not the authors. They're the scribes, right?
Yes.
It's a different. Like if you tell me, and I write something down, that's not my work.
But you're inspired by it.
I'm the one just writing it down.
But you're
right?
inspired by it.
Sure.
If you change the words somewhat.
Excellent. The Sahaba were inspired, but they wrote it down exactly. Why? Because all the writings have no differences. I can show you. Let me give you an example, right? I can recite a verse from the Quran from memory, and I can ask him to recite it from memory, and you can see if there's any differences. We memorize the whole thing, right? Word by word, letter by letter. So there's no differences.
But if you told him, and he told him, and he told 3 other people, I bet you it would change.
I bet it wouldn't. Because for 14 and a half centuries, we've been memorizing the Quran letter by letter, and nowhere in the entire Muslim world has it changed.
But isn't there interpretations to every single word?
Look, the text is preserved. If you want to misunderstand it, that's up to you.
Not misunderstand.
Right, but
interpret.
No. So how the text should be interpreted is explained by the Quran itself.
So there's like a
it's explained, yeah, of course. But then again, if you want to misuse it, like let's say you want to, for your own political agenda, misuse it, that's up to you. But the book itself, the Quran, word by word, letter by letter, preserved. Right? Well, let me ask you something else. If I tell you go out and split the moon tonight, could you do it?
I think I could.
Split the moon, bring it together?
I think I
really?
could. I'd have to believe in it big time.
All right.
God, you know?
All right. But then God would do it, not you.
Not me.
Okay. So that would mean it would be a miracle from God because God would do it. So when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, went out, and I can give you the historic reports from
If
it.
I ask for it, I shall receive.
All right. So there you go. If you shall receive,
If you believe.
who's the one giving it to you?
God.
There you go. So when the one who asked, the Prophet Muhammad, when he got that miracle, that means that miracle was from God, right? So then we know that this is a true prophet. He asked and Allah gave it to him, right?
Which prophet?
The Prophet Muhammad.
What did he ask for?
For the moon to be split and brought back together.
He actually really split it.
Actually did, yeah.
I feel like I can do that stuff when I'm on psychedelic mushrooms.
Well, then you might be imagining it, but it's not actually happening, right?
Well, some people do get very religious though, or connected to
Sure,
God.
but if you're on psychedelics, you may imagine something, but everybody around you doesn't see the same thing, right?
Of course.
But the Prophet Muhammad, when he split the moon, everybody saw it. Even the enemies, they said, yeah, we saw it.
How did they log it out?
I'll give you a video that I made that gives you all the, if you put Uthman ibn Farooq moon splitting, it gives you all the evidences, it gives you all the book scan, it gives you the historic reports from other than Arabia, all of
I
that.
go to YouTube and just put.
Yeah, I'll show it to you on your phone, no
I
problem.
have a low battery right now.
All right. So there's our channel, One Message Foundation.
You don't want to check out the moon thing?
Yeah. So put Uthman. My name is Uthman ibn Farooq moon split. Here, I'll write it for you.
It's not on this?
That's just the channel. Have a pen?
Ahmed Moonsplit.
Uthman, not
How do you
Ahmed.
spell that?
Uthman.
Oh, like a yacht. UTH.
Uthman. Uthman.
Moonsplit. UTH. Like Utah.
It's okay. Let me write it for you. That way you can. So what do you believe there's one God?
I believe there's. I mean, for me, I don't think there's more than one.
Okay, good. That's what you believe then, right?
I feel like, yeah. I mean, I feel like whatever you want to call it, you know, like it helps you out when you ask.
Right, but you believe there is one God, right?
I believe one God.
Okay. Do you believe that God sent prophets?
I'm not sure.
All right. But earlier you said it doesn't only make sense that he would send guidance, right?
I didn't say that.
Oh no, when we were talking about the user manual.
Oh, right.
Right. So that God, if it would make sense that he would send us instructions on how to live, right?
Absolutely.
So those would be brought by the prophets, right?
Yes.
So like Moses,
angels.
right? Angels would bring it down to the prophet, who would be a human that would then speak to us in our language,
What
right?
about angels? Do you believe in angels?
I believe in
around us
angels, yes.
All the time?
Yeah.
What's the difference between an angel and a prophet?
A prophet is a human being, an angel is a different creation.
Angel you can't see.
Well, I mean, regularly you can't, but there are times people have seen angels. Yeah. In the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, people saw the angel Gabriel. Yeah. You have angels right now writing down what's going on, what you're saying, what you're doing.
Absolutely.
There are angels bringing your sustenance, they're taking care of the rain. There's angels all over the
They
place.
decide what happens, right? Or no?
God decides what happened. Angels carry out his will.
Can they help?
They carry out his will, yeah. So like for example, if God wants to send a message to a prophet, he orders the angel Gabriel to take that message to him.
How many angels are there, would you say?
Unlimited. I don't know. I don't know the end of the number. I mean, how many were there? Allah knows best, but there's a lot. I mean, there are angels throughout the skies, above the heaven, and all over. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So you believe in there's one creator.
Yes.
You believe they're angels. You believe they're prophets.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
so-
I don't know about prophets.
So let me tell you about prophets and tell me what doesn't make sense, right?
Angel.
So God sends those angels to humans who are prophets, who are messengers. They bring that message to the people, right? So for example, if I'm speaking to you as a human being, that's easier for you to communicate with than if a dog barks at you, right? So prophets, to be humans, it only makes sense so they can bring the message to other human beings. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now those instructions on how to live, not to kill, not to steal, those instructions from God, from the Creator, would be sent down via the prophets, I mean from the angels to the prophet, and the prophet would then tell the people. And to show that they're true prophets, they would have miracles. They would have things you couldn't regularly do.
Sure.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. So that's Islam. We believe in one God. We believe He's the creator of everything. We believe He's the sustainer of everything. We believe He has beautiful names and characteristics. We believe that He's the only one that deserves to be worshipped. He's the one that controls everything. And He's the one that sent those angels to the prophets and sent those prophets to us to
understand.
bring us a message.
So the part where you guys in Christianity have
A disagreement.
disagreement.
Well,
it
they
would be
worship the prophet.
they
We worship the creator.
But the prophet, but the creator is not Jesus. You're saying.
No,
You're
no,
saying
no.
It's,
If Jesus was a creator, who was He praying to? Make sense?
to the Father, Holy Ghost.
Right.
and the
So
Holy
so
Spirit.
so if He's praying to the Father, then the Father, according to that context, would be God,
What's his
and
name?
Jesus wouldn't be. Allah, Al-Ilah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Elohim, whatever language, whatever you want to say. He has many names. We have one hadith that mentions 99 of them, and there's many more that we don't know about.
Yeah, no, it makes.
That makes sense, right?
Well, if he's praying to someone, then there's another God. But they're
There
saying
you go.
that it's the Father,
Okay,
the
but then,
Ghost, and the Holy Spirit.
but if He's praying to the Father doesn't pray to Him, right?
I don't know.
No, check the Bible. He doesn't.
No.
No, I have the Bible. You want me to show it to
Oh,
you?
he doesn't pray to him, but he speaks to him.
Sure, God speaks to His prophets like He spoke to
He
Moses.
doesn't pray to him.
Exactly. So if Jesus is praying to God and God's not praying to Jesus, then God is God. Jesus is not God, right?
That's a good point.
It makes sense. It's a good point, right?
It's
Good. Good. It does make sense, right?
Makes me think.
Can God die? Like if you look at the Old Testament, God, it says God's ever living, right? He doesn't die,
Right.
right? So if Christians say Jesus died, then He can't be God.
But he didn't die. He came back. They say.
But He did die, according to Christians. Does
Yeah,
God
but I
die?
guess if you die
Okay,
and then you come
let me
back,
ask you
I
a
guess
simpler
it's-
question,
it's like
right?
someone having a heart attack and you.
Does
dead
God
in
know
10
everything?
seconds. I think so.
I would agree, right? But Jesus in the Bible, He didn't know when the hour is, the hour of His return. I have a Bible. I'm going to show it to you.
No.
Okay.
I'm thinking
So if Jesus didn't know, right, then that means He can't be God by definition, because God knows everything.
Yeah, but what if you do? Yeah. I
Go ahead.
guess.
Take it through your logic.
But there's free will also, so you
Sure.
should get your own choice to make your own decisions, right?
Right?
Or
Like
I'm
for
not
example, do you know 2 + 2 is 5?
sure, right?
2 + 2, what is it?
It depends what you think it is, but. But
All right, let's go to
Here it's
2.
4.
Okay, 4, right?
4 here, yeah.
So earlier, I asked the question. I said, do you know 2 + 2 being 5? That would be wrong. You could think it's 5, but it's not. It's 4, like you said, right?
To me, I go by like synergistic mythology, you know,
Sure.
or theory. I would
Okay.
say. So usually it's like if I have like another one of me, like a twin, it's 1 + 1 = 187. You know what I mean?
All
Like,
right.
I'm looking at.
All right. So let's just keep it at a very simple level, right?
Sure. 2 + 2 is 4.
2 + 2 is 4, right? Now, when you know that to be 4, you know that, right? If I ask a little baby that doesn't know 2 + 2 being 4, it's a little child, little toddler, right? That child doesn't know,
Right.
right? There's a difference between you and that child, right? You know, he doesn't know,
Right.
right? So if God knows everything and Jesus didn't know when is his hour, when is his return, and he says in the Bible that nobody knows, not the angels, not the Son, only the Father, right? So this means that Jesus, by definition, could not be God. Because God, by definition, as we agreed, and you find in the Bible, knows everything. So if he didn't know everything, he could no longer be God. Because that's the definition of who God is. Make sense?
What do Christians say in response?
They get
to that?
confused. Some of them give different. Some of them said, well, he forgot, like we had a discussion. Some of them say, he knew, but he blocked it, so that would mean that he's lying. I don't know. We get a lot of different answers. But
He said he was God, right?
no,
He never said he
never. I have a Bible, look
never
through it.
claimed that.
Never. There are verses where he says, me and the Father are one, right? But then he also says, me and the disciples and the Father are one. Well, that doesn't mean that they're one as in the same thing. That means they're on the same page. Like, for example, we say we're one nation, right? Doesn't mean me and you are the same. I mean, obviously you have characteristics I don't have. I have whatever you don't have. Somebody's a president, somebody's a janitor. They're one nation, meaning we're on the same page, we have the same constitution, same colored passport, whatever, but we're not the same, right? So to take an ambiguous statement like that and to say this means that Jesus says he's God is wrong. He could have clearly said, I'm God, right? Even when they called him good teacher, he said, don't call me good, only God is good.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear, right?
Well, you made some good points.
Good.
Have you gone up against any other?
Yeah. You'll see. You check the One Message Foundation channel. You'll see plenty of discussions and debates and all kinds of fun stuff. But forget all that. Tell me about your belief. You believe there's one God, right?
I know I've been close to God before. Where
Nice, good.
Anything I asked, it would just like I would.
See how God is guiding you to be here today, right? So that God that you're close to brought you here today, right? And gave you this opportunity, right?
Right.
So now pray to that God for guidance,
I will.
right? But if you believe there is one creator, one God, and you believe that God sent us instructions on how to live, right and wrong, and you believe that God sends his mercy through the angels coming down with guidance to prophets, this is a Muslim belief.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in God. I believe
Right?
in.
You don't worship people, do you?
I
When you worship-
I worship dogs before I worship people.
All right, but you don't worship God, yeah. But that doesn't make sense. Why would anybody worship a person just as ridiculous as worshiping a dog or a cat, right?
No, and
Worship the creator of all of that.
Unless you do some miraculous things where I'm like.
Like splitting the moon,
Like heal people.
right?
You can heal a blind man. I'm thinking you're legit.
But you could be a prophet, right? You don't have to
Yeah,
be God
or an
himself
angel
or an angel, right? There you go. So when somebody is given miracles like splitting the ocean, right? Like Moses, right? He split the sea.
I think
Right?
that was a little far-fetched. but
You don't think it happened?
I'm not sure if I
All
don't,
right.
I just don't. I think it was a good tale, but
All right.
I'm not sure about that.
We'll talk about that more in detail later. But you have Moses, you have his miracle. You have Abraham, he was thrown in the fire, didn't burn. You have Jesus and his miracles. You have Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, and his miracles. We believe in all of them. Why do we have to hate? Like, why do we have to choose? Why can't we say they're all prophets of God?
How did the prophets have that kind of power, though? I don't get it.
By
if
the
you
will of the
split-
Creator,
If you're splitting an ocean,
right?
or you're splitting the moon, that's almost like you're almost like pretty much God. If you can do
But it's not you doing it. Like earlier, you said if you're close to God, God would give you that miracle, right? So it's God who does the miracle, but you are the one that is there to ask. And when God gives it to you, it shows you're a true prophet.
Hey, you made some good points.
Good. I'll tell you what. You have the book. You have the YouTube channel. Go home. No pressure. But tonight, I want you to pray to that one Creator to guide you to the truth.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
you for your time.
Thank you.